Hello, my name is Pastor Kris Kollar. I'm the pastor of Pleasant Valley Lutheran Church near Malabar Farm and St. Paul Lutheran Church in Lucas, Ohio. Greetings. We are reading through the Bible with commentary. We are in the book of Leviticus. We are up to chapter 25. And every time I do this, I try to make a best guess of how long I'm going to read. I'm going to just do one chapter tonight about the Sabbath year and the year of Jubilee. The Lord spoke to Moses on Mount Sinai, saying, "Speak to the people of Israel, and say to them, when you enter the land that I am giving you, the land shall observe a Sabbath for the Lord. 6 years you shall sow your field, and 6 years you shall prune your vineyard, and gather in their yield. But in the 7th year there shall be a Sabbath of complete rest for the land, a Sabbath for the Lord. You shall not sow your field or prune your vineyard. You shall not reap the aftergrowth of your harvest, or gather the grapes of your unpruned vine. It shall be a year of complete rest for the land. You may eat what the land yields during its Sabbath, you, your male and female slaves, your hired and your bound laborers who live with you, for your livestock also, and for the wild animals in your land, all its yield shall be for food." So they are not yet arrived to the promised land, but the Lord is telling Moses, when you get there, every 7th year is a rest. And it's all the way through Leviticus, not just Leviticus, but from Exodus and from Genesis to Exodus to Leviticus. Keep the Sabbath, keep the Sabbath, keep the Sabbath. People like to get very caught up in some of the little sticky rules of the Old Testament, but the message over and over and over is that the 7th day is different. And now not only the 7th day, but the 7th year is different. And of course, we are most of us not agricultural. I was lucky to grow up on a farm, but modern farmers rotate their crops because they know if you keep growing the same thing over and over again, it's not good for the soil. So this was a way to let the field be fallow. There's your fancy word for today. A field that is not harvested is fallow. So every 7th year, they are to let all of the fields be fallow and have a rest. And you can harvest whatever comes up, but you can't plant anything. Verse 8, you shall count off 7 weeks of years, 7 times 7 years, so that the period of 7 weeks of years gives 49 years. In other words, every 7th year is a Sabbath, and then we're going to do 7 of those, so the 49th year would be a Sabbath. Then you shall have the trumpet sounded loud. On the 10th day of the 7th month, on the Day of Atonement, you shall have the trumpet sounded throughout all your land. And you shall hallow the 50th year, and you shall proclaim liberty throughout the land to all its inhabitants. It shall be a jubilee for you. You shall return, every one of you, to your property, and every one of you to your family. That 50th year shall be a jubilee for you. You shall not sow, or reap the aftergrowth, or harvest the unpruned vines. For it is a jubilee. It shall be holy to you. You shall eat only what the field itself produces. So every 7th year is a Sabbath year. You don't plant anything. And after 49 years, you have your Sabbath year. I need to sneeze. And then the 50th year is the year of Jubilee. So 2 years in a row that are not planted, that is a rest for the property. But it's not just a rest for the land. It's a lot more than that. Verse 13, in this year of Jubilee, you shall return, every one of you, to your property. When you make a sale to your neighbor or buy from your neighbor, you shall not cheat one another. When you buy from your neighbor, you shall pay only for the number of years since the Jubilee. The seller shall charge you only for the remaining crop years. If the years are more, you shall increase the price. And if the years are fewer, you shall diminish the price. For it is a certain number of harvests that are being sold to you. You shall not cheat one another, but you shall fear your God, for I am the Lord your God. So, on the year of Jubilee, the property reverts to the person that originally owned it. So instead of selling it and then it's gone forever, you're basically leasing it. You're selling it for that many years until the Jubilee, and then in the year of Jubilee, the property is supposed to return to the person who sold it. Verse 18, you shall observe my statutes and faithfully keep my ordinances, so that you may live on the land securely. The land will yield its fruit, and you will eat your fill and live on it securely. Should you ask, what shall we eat in the 7th year, if we may not sow or gather in our crop? I will order my blessing for you in the 6th year, so that it will yield a crop for 3 years. When you sow in the 8th year, you will be eating from the old crop. Until the 9th year, when the produce comes in, you shall eat the old. So, what do you do the 7th year if you're not going to be planting anything? So the 6th year will have enough produce that it's good for the 6th year to eat, the 7th year to eat, the 8th year to sow and to eat until the crop is raised. Verse 23, the land shall not be sold in perpetuity, for the land is mine. With me you are but aliens and tenants. Throughout the land that you hold, you shall provide for the redemption of the land. So you are only going to be using the land. Really, the land belongs to me as God, but you don't get to sell it forever. You get to sell it until the next Jubilee. Verse 25, if any one of your kin falls into difficulty and sells a piece of property, then the next of kin shall come and redeem what the relative has sold. If the person has no one to redeem it, but then prospers and finds sufficient means to do it, the years since its sale shall be computed, and the difference shall be refunded to the person to whom it was sold, and the property shall be returned. But if there are not sufficient means to recover it, what was sold shall remain with the purchaser until the year of Jubilee. In the year of Jubilee it shall be released, and the property shall be returned. So maybe you're broke and you have to sell some land, but when you sell the land, it's only until the next year of Jubilee. And if you get enough money and you can get your land back, then you can buy your land back. But if you can't, it comes back to you on the year of Jubilee. Verse 29, if anyone sells a dwelling house in a walled city, it may be redeemed until a year has elapsed since it. But before I go on to that, this will come up again when we get to the book of Ruth, because there's a piece of property, and one of the characters in the book of Ruth goes to redeem the property and says, and with the property comes Ruth. So they do tie in together. All right, verse 29. If anyone sells a dwelling house in a walled city, it may be redeemed until a year has elapsed since its sale. The right of redemption shall be 1 year. If it is not redeemed before a full year has elapsed, a house that is within a walled city shall pass in perpetuity to the purchaser throughout the generations. It shall not be released in the Jubilee. So the Jubilee applies to land. It does not apply to houses within walled cities. Verse 31, but houses and villages that have no walls around them shall be classed as open country. They may be redeemed, and they shall be released in the Jubilee. As for the cities of the Levites shall forever have the right of redemption on the houses of the cities belonging to them. Such property as may be redeemed from the Levites, houses sold in a city belonging to them, shall be released in the Jubilee, because the houses in the cities of the Levites are their possession among the people of Israel. But the open land around their cities may not be sold, for that is their possession for all time. So they haven't got to the promised land yet, but when they get to the promised land, the Levites, which are the priests, are not going to be owning lots of fields. They're going to actually have cities, and the land around the city to have sheep and raise a garden and have food. But they're not going to own a lot of land. And they retain the right to redeem. If they sell, they can get it back. And when the year of Jubilee comes, they get their house back. Verse 35, if any of your kin fall into difficulty and become dependent on you, you shall support them. They shall live with you as though resident aliens. Do not take interest in advance or otherwise make a profit from them, but fear your God. Let them live with you. You shall not lend them your money at interest taken in advance, or provide them food at a profit. I am the Lord your God, who brought you out of the land of Egypt and gave you the land of Canaan to be your God. So again, as we read through all of these rules and laws and regulations and ordinances, what's very, very wonderful about the Jewish code, the Israelite law, is how much it looks out for people in difficulty. It looks out for women and widows and orphans, and in this case, somebody in your family, your kin, that falls into difficulty and becomes dependent. You will support them, and you won't profit off of them. You won't charge them off full interest. You will let them come in and be with you and take care of them. Verse 39, if any who are dependent on you become so impoverished that they sell themselves to you, you shall not make them serve as slaves. They shall remain with you as hired or bound laborers. They shall serve with you until the year of Jubilee. Then they and their children with them shall be free from your authority. They shall go back to their own family and return to their ancestral property. For they are my servants, whom I brought out of the land of Egypt. They shall not be sold as slaves are sold. You shall not rule over them with harshness, but you shall fear your God. So if you have somebody who is dependent on you and they are so poor that they have to sell themselves, you can't treat them as slaves. You can hire them as bound laborers, and at the year of Jubilee, they get to go back to their own property. They get to be free. They're not slaves. Verse 44, as for the male and female slaves whom you may have, it is from the nations around you that you may acquire male and female slaves. You may also acquire them from among the aliens residing with you, and from their families that are with you, who have been born in your land, and they may be your property. You may keep them as a possession for your children after you, for them to inherit as property. These you may treat as slaves. But as for your fellow Israelites, no one shall rule over the other with harshness. And of course, as we've said before, these are rules for a people that were 3,000 years ago. Now in modern times we say, no, it is not right to own people and have slaves. And not even if the people are those other people from that other place over there, it is not right to have slaves. Slavery is not right. So just because something is in the Bible does not make it a true and right thing forever. And there are many other places where it talks about setting people free. And even within the Israelite code, there are ways that a slave could choose to become free or could choose to stay with their master forever. But again, do not treat your fellow Israelite with harshness. Verse 47, if resident aliens among you prosper, and if your kin fall into difficulty with one of them and sell themselves to an alien, or to a branch of the alien's family after they have sold themselves, they shall have the right of redemption. One of their brothers may redeem them, or their uncle's son may redeem them, or any one of their family who is of their own flesh may redeem them. Or if they prosper, they may redeem themselves. They shall compute with the purchaser the total from the year when they sold themselves to the alien until the Jubilee. The price of the sale shall be applied to the number of years. The time they were with the owner shall be rated as the time of a hired laborer. If many years remain, they shall pay for their redemption in proportion to the purchase price. And if few years remain until the Jubilee year, they shall compute this. According to the years involved, they shall make payment for their redemption. As a laborer hired by the year, they shall be under the alien's authority, who shall not, however, rule with harshness over them in your sight. And if they have not been redeemed in any of these ways, they and their children with them shall go free in the Jubilee year. For to me the people of Israel are servants. They are my servants, whom I brought out from the land of Egypt. I am the Lord your God. So, even if an Israelite sells themselves to somebody who is not an Israelite, an resident alien, somebody from another country who is living amongst the Israelites, if they sell themselves to that person, they can do that, but then at the year of Jubilee, they are free. And if they want to be redeemed, they can redeem themselves if they manage to get the money together, or one of their family can come and redeem them. The price is set by how many years until the year of Jubilee. So this concept of Jubilee is this wonderful concept that every 50th year, the slaves are set free, property returns to its original owner, debts are canceled, everybody, it's a reset for everybody. And it's a total, communism is the wrong word for it. It's this leveling, that there's not this people that can get obscenely rich and people that are dirt poor, but instead it's this looking out for each other. And so no, even if you fall into hard times and have to sell yourself into slavery, you're not permanently a slave. You're only that until the year of Jubilee. You have to sell your property, you get it back at the year of Jubilee. You don't, none of it's permanent. And the year of Jubilee, everything gets redistributed. All the property goes back to who it had before. All of the slaves are set free. Which, of course, when we hear the word Jubilee, nowadays we have this idea, this happy, it is a very happy, wonderful time of happiness because it's a Jubilee. But this was the original meaning of Jubilee. And now may the Lord bless you and keep you. May the Lord make his face shine upon you and be gracious unto you. May the Lord look at you with favor and give you peace. In the name of the Father, and of the Son, and of the Holy Spirit. Amen. Go in peace. Serve the Lord. Thanks be to God. Have a wonderful day. Thanks for watching. Like and subscribe. Maybe even make a comment.